when you need to create, so when you need to create a connection with someone who you've lost connection with, um, but it's important to have it because they are um, family in a sense, right? Like drawing boundaries, like how do you grow in creating that connection while still holding on to your boundaries? And just knowing that like um, you're gonna protect yourself and your family, like most of all your family and the person that is connected to the family.
So my first thought is thinking about something that really came through for me last week in my personal growth was about how I was doing an exercise about control, making a list. What I can control, what is out of my control was the exercise that I was in. And the thing that came through that I literally was like, I don't need to write anything else down was the only thing we control is our perception,
Hmm.
our own perception. So whether it's a conversation or an interaction or an activity that we must do with people that we need to build a stronger connection with because they're going to be in our atmosphere, um, or we get to choose when they get to be in our atmosphere, but we can first prime ourselves, right?
Hmm.
We can grow our own energy to be able to be prepared for whatever the conversation or the energy of the other person might be, right? So
Hmm.
I think about setting an intention for whenever you're going into the conversation, which we work on here, we practice that, right? Setting the intention of what we want to receive, what we want to give, just the energy space that we want to be in. And then we can only really control, right, our own perception of how we're responding or reacting and taking action in those moments, um, to be open to building the connection up, especially when it's something that you're working to get back. You mentioned getting back that connection, which is kind of like a tender area because you're building trust, you're building belief that like it's for the greater good, like all of those things are being built on. So my first thought is perception and priming yourself as much as possible with even a
Hmm.
conversation to start the connection again, and to just know like what is your intention, what is your purpose for opening up that connection more, to make sure
Hmm.
that you're going in with a clean slate of let's leave the past where it is right now and come in open enough to know if we're working on building the connection together, because if they're not there, it's not energy matching and it won't
Hmm.
work. So I think
I
that
like
first thing
that.
is that opening that to know what your intention is solid before you go anywhere.
I like that. And I think that like being able to say that showing up could be for someone else and that's why we're coming and like leaving things where they are, that expectations are like the expectation is that like supporting some of the family members
Yeah,
and then
love that.
that's yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we can talk about that more.
yeah.
So sit with that, think about what if anyone else wants to share too, because we're at time. But I think that's a great conversation, especially around holidays. We're like, oh, who will we be around? Who do we choose to be around? How is that going to look? And how do we still protect ourselves and our families from anything, that we need to or we want to? So I think that's a great conversation about how to grow in a connection and reconnect with people. So, okay,
Mhm.
we'll pick that back up.
Thank you. Yay.
Yes, thank you for asking, Suze.
Mhm.